I was driving my 71 440 Cuda. And now that I'm here in Texas with all these country roads, man, it's better to have a big block Mopar with the 5-speed. Wow. People want to apprentice. Well, I get like written letters, emails, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, every possible way that people can get to me and want to like come and have me teach them stuff. You know, the only way to see the real value in my skills is to give them away. I get to work and like realize what I know how to do and show people. I want to see this trade thrive and go back to the 40s where, you know, craftsmanship and pride and hand making something had a value. You know, and I think it's all about this. It's your hands and using your hands and giving yourself a sense of self-pride. It feels good to do it as fast as I do it, you know, and like it gives me an opportunity to like realize, I guess, how skilled I am and how lucky I am to have the skills I have. And you know, I'm not the greatest metal worker in the world because I'm still learning, and I'll keep learning and keep trying new things till the day I die. And so hopefully I can keep passing that on. Cool, so we got these pieces ready to go. We can go turn this edge. We'll put that bead down the center. Maybe get something fancy. And then put a wired edge. And then we'll weld it back together. We should be cool. Just pretend like that's the fender. If you invest in good quality tools, they will last forever. If you take care of them and maintain them right, like my beading tools and stuff like that I've had since I worked at Boyd's. Start with this thing as close as you can get it so where it'll still fold. So about the thickness of the piece of material. Put it in there, get it to touch, and count. Because we're doing 2 pieces, so you want the both to be the same step. So 1, 2, so that's 1 revolution, and I'm holding it up. You'd rather do it on a test piece than take your nice, pretty part you just spent a lot of time on and go, oops. I always keep this thing loose so I can always get my body like kind of comfortable position. You can always go in a direction where you can see the line and you can see where the dies are hitting it. So that's not much of a radius, you know, that's like kind of just a yeah. So how I get a bigger radius, let a little bit of slack out, you know, let this. So just remember you're 1.5 inches on the first one, or 1.5 turns on the first one, but only go 1 on your first pass. Yeah. Then go another half turn and clean it up, and then 1 turn on the second step. You don't want to, because that's digging into the metal, so you only want to do 1 shot. You don't want to make a bunch of make as minimal passes as you can, so it doesn't dig a hole that you have to file out. But the cool thing about this, if you get a wobble in it or something, just stick it in the planishing hammer and hammer it back flat, and then start over, you know, instead of trying to like dig deeper or push it or whatever. Okay, you want to go to the next one? Let me see real quick, Luke. We might want to go a full turn because it's not. Yole. Looks good. The most important thing is to remember your turns, because like if you forget and you'll have one, it's like the wrong step, or you know. Does it get stronger? Does it feel?
What's that? Yeah.
Little strength action to it.
opposed to other kind of welding?
Well, it's pretty much the standard deal. You know, we could gas weld it, but something like this that isn't super hypercritical of leaking, and we don't have to do any shaping. You know, gas welding's good if you have to do some shaping after the fact, and it has to stay malleable. This can be stiff and strong as we want it, and it doesn't really matter.
Exciting seeing it back together.
Yeah, it almost looks like a fender.
Yeah, bead doesn't look too bad.
No. You always sand those tacks down. You know, never weld over the tacks unless it's like a super flat one, because then it'll like camel hump, you know, because metal will add more metal where there already is some. And, you know, it's like the one good thing about that bead too is it holds the thing in place. You know, it won't warp it up. It'll stretch it and move a little bit, but it pretty much locks that weld right there. So you could just sand it, you know, kiss it to finish it.
It's kind of good to shape it right now too after you weld it because it's still hot.
Yeah, and it's really easy to move around. Well, it's good. It fits the wheel perfect. So all we got to do is finish that centerpiece and then fold, you know, roll the edge and then mount it. Took a little drive out to Marble Falls, right by my house. They had Lake Fest, they had drag boat races. I'm into anything with a giant motor and a little tiny vehicle. When I first started building bikes, I had a friend of mine, Kenny, that raced. He had a top fuel boat. I was kind of around it quite a bit, and his friends and the other racers, and I think I pulled a lot of my style for building bikes out of drag boats, because it's like that, you know, it's a big, fast race vehicle, but it's super detailed and nice, and it's kind of showy, you know, and I kind of like that. It's cool to make something fast like the space shuttle, and it's all military grade and, you know, purpose built, but it's kind of neat to do something fast and it's functional, but also with a little bit of flair, you know, make it, you know, sweet looking, you know. And I've kind of been thinking, like, over the last year or so, is building a cool little lake boat. You know, I have a pretty bitchin' little, like, you know, 640 Donovan blown big block that would be perfect in a little boat. I don't know if I want to race it, but it'd be cool to just have it to blip around the lake on. Till someone came up next to me, then it's on. I took my son, Jesse James Jr. He likes to do this type of stuff and trip out on weirdo people, and like, it's just fun to do stuff with him. bonding top fuel time. That's the first time I've kind of like, since I moved to Texas, it's the first time I've went to anything that's kind of like my people, you know, like, and I don't know, everybody was really nice. And, you know, I think I've like kind of backed away into my own little corner here in my shop and not really been out and about too much. I saw everything I wanted to see. It was cool, hanging out in the pits. I like the pits better than the racing almost. I just like to see all that stuff being worked on and, you know, just, I don't know. I like being around that stuff. I feel it really at home and like that's where I belong, you know, and everybody like kind of made me feel really welcome, you know. It's like drag boats and tractor pullers. They like polished up anodized, man. You know, like top fuel cars and drag cars, it's all like purpose built. They'll put a nice paint job on it, but pretty much everything's utility. You know, it's like military finishes and Duracoated, and everything's built to like last and not really look good. Drag boat guys, man, they're kind of like pimps. They like Keith Black, big block, you know, Hemi motor, all polished and anodized fittings to match, and it's just like my type of stuff. Yeah, like as soon as I hear like a big motor with straight pipes, like I instantly like get goosebumps. Like it's like some kind of drug for me. So we got this welded and kind of like squished into shape. So now we just got to metal finish it and make it pretty, you know, and then do all of our details like a doubled edge and put a reinforcement on the back. We'll probably rivet something and then show kind of how to mount it, you know, and how to space it out.
Looks good.
Yeah. The only problem I see is this is dipping down a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I couldn't tell or not.
So we just have to like try to address that a little bit. This thing's like, it's like leaning this way a little bit. That could just be from the angle it was fed through the machine. I'm not overly concerned with it, but you know, I think it's so slight that once it's on the bike and once we put the edge on it and even it up, and this is all smooth, then I don't think you'll really notice it. But I noticed that they were one's holding it a little higher than the other, and so just that little bit will affect it. But it, you know, and there's no way to correct that unless you have like some kind of like gauge to make sure they both hold it at the exact same, you know, way. God, you guys. I was seeing how close it comes to the chain, if we need to jog that in a little bit. I think we do. The only problem with this, the only thing that bums me out about that whole type of shrinker method is just the surface kills it, you know? Because there's no really way to get that stuff out of there. You could plane this shit, but it's still gonna leave grooves. And there's no real way to get that out of there except for sanding it, you know, which removing material, which is, it's okay. Yeah, that, except for that very edge, that stuff knocks that right out. Except for that extreme, you know, edge, but we're gonna roll most of that away. You guys just wanna remember too, you know, the only way to get something smooth is to use flat surfaces, you know that, right? Like start off with a file. You know, a file will find all your high and low spots. That's pretty straight, other than the surface disruption where it sanded it, you know, where it grabbed it and pulled it in on itself. Pretty straight. You can fill that stuff a little bit. We could file it and get it all out, but I think for that bike, that's presentable, you know? And the more we file it, the thinner the material gets, you know? I actually kind of like seeing that.
Tiger stripes.
Yeah, because then then you could tell how, oh, that, I could look right at it and know how someone made it. Just like that, you know, where you only see the, you know, where you have a consistent amount of, you know, sand scratches and you're not seeing any of the low spots. You know, I'd stay away from that. You know, you can kiss that lower edge just to dress it, but it's gonna get folded anyway. And sometimes that's what metalwork's about, is like showing some restraint. I mean, you could push so hard and do so much and keep doing these steps and stuff, but sometimes it's like, you gotta realize when enough's enough, you know, when it's done. Use the table so you're digging into the metal and not, because that thing, if this thing's moving, this thing isn't doing, this needs to be locked down, so that's like working it.
A lot of what inspired me is videos like this. It was like Monster Garage and all those. I was like, I just watched so many of those shows and so many videos as much as possible. I would just go out and like put my own spin on it and try to like learn as much as I could, like actually like doing it instead of watching the things. You just get the ideas from watching them, learn other people's processes, but it's just something inside you that really like makes you really want to do it.
You want me to show you how to get those low spots out?
All dark spots where the sander doesn't hit are basically all low spots. It's kind of like if you Bondo a car, they use different color primer and different color Bondo. So when you sand through, the different colors show you where all the low spots are at. So this, you just see a darker piece of the metal basically. When I lived in California, that was kind of almost one of my dreams. It was like, oh, what if I could get good enough to work at West Coast Choppers or like learn something from him, you know? So it's actually like these videos actually mean a lot to me. It's kind of like, it's pretty much a dream come true. It's like the things I used to watch that like basically inspired me, like now I'm doing, and it's still inspiring me like even more, and hopefully it helps other people go through the same thing.
This is a bullseye pick. So if you have a low spot on metal, you'll put it in this little half circle in the center, and you just pull on it from the bottom side. It'll hit right underneath where your bullseye is. You know, get in there and really dress the metal, you know, put some muscle behind it. Good, it looks good. So doesn't it, like, once you put a finish on something, doesn't it changes your whole perspective on it, you know? So that's where we're gonna end up. We'll scribe the inside of it, but you guys can see. So that's where we're gonna end up. So what we have to do is, we're just gonna go straight along the edge. So what we have to do is turn this edge in so so we end up right where we wanna be. And this is gonna disappear. So this is all you're gonna see. So your rolled edge should complete that radius to that. ready to roll it. So we'll scribe the inside of this 1/2 inch. Let's do this side first. The smoother you can make this line, the smoother that lower edge will be. And then it look cool just like that. That little, and it adds like strength, but. Getting there. Look how much better that looks.
Yeah, it looks good.
Taking that edge away, you know? This is just 10 gauge galvanized fence wire for like chain link fence, for string and chain link fence. Cool. Same discipline, just go a little bit at a time. So I'm like hitting it over and then hitting it down, like getting in there as far as I can, the best angle, and hitting it down so it like curls onto the wire. And I'm just clamping it far enough away so I don't see any gap. I mean, people got all kinds of like gizmos and things to like do this, but this is just the way that works without messing stuff up. You know, it's labor intensive, but you know. Strong now, you feel it? Pretty cool. It's the one everybody wants.
It's pretty awesome.